Shalom Aleichem, this is Rabbi Kovacs, and we are continuing the Mishnah Yomi Shir in chapter 1 of Rosh Hashanah, Mishnah 8. Elu hen ha'pesulim. These are those who are disqualified from testifying to seeing the new moon, and then relating that testimony to the high court to sanctify the Chodesh. Ha'mesochek bekuvia. Those who play with dice, gamblers. Now, the Mefarshim explain it could be because these people are professional gamblers and they're not involved in any constructive occupation. Could be because gamblers are prone to having debts and not being very truthful. And the Bartner brings an explanation that they win their money through a kinyan asmachta, meaning that when everyone puts down their money before they roll the dice or spin the roulette or play the cards or whatever it is, they don't really intend to lose their money. So everybody's sitting around that table gambling. They're not really giving their money wholeheartedly. So the poskim do distinguish a case where there's a tzedakah organization having a raffle and the people are paying the money for raffle tickets, but that money goes to tzedakah. We give tzedakah wholeheartedly as a mitzvah, so it's not the same as people sitting around the table gambling who really never wanted to lose their money. So when they lose that hand or lose that roll of the dice, they're really not giving it over to the other players, so it's really gezel derabanan, it's rabbinically stealing. Mishnah continues, molve beribis, those who lend money with interest. If it's a biblical prohibition, they'd be prohibited biblically from testifying, but even rabbinical interest, we're going to talk about avak ribis later on, then that would also be puzzle from this testimony. Umafriche yonim, those who race pigeons. They had pigeon races, they would bet on that. There's other Mefarshim say that people would scare someone else's pigeons or lure them making pigeon noises to lure other people's pigeons out of their nests. V'sochare shvit, those who do business with Shemitah year produce, which is asur deraisa to do business with, but even on a rabbinical level, there are certain prohibitions that aren't forbidden deraisa, but are forbidden rabbinically. Ve'avodim, and an Eved Kanani who's not yet freed, he's not yet fully Jewish, these people cannot testify about the new moon. Now, the Mishnah adds Zeh Klal. This is the general rule about these kind of people testifying. Kol edut she'ena isha kasher Allah. Any form of testimony, any information that a woman is not believed about or not accepted by the court to speak about, afhen einen kasherin law. These people, even if it's a rabbinical problem, a rabbinical isser that they're doing, they're a Rasha derabanan, they are also not allowed to testify. Now, what this excludes, interestingly, is we learned in the last chapter of Yevamis, we're going to learn in Mishnah, we learned in the Daf Yomi not too long ago, that sometimes we will accept one witness, or even if that witness is not normally qualified, to allow a woman to get remarried if he's testifying that he heard or saw that the husband had passed away. There are certain leniencies that our sages relied on to allow a woman to get remarried on the basis of less than normal acceptable testimony from two kosher witnesses. So these kind of witnesses, as long as it's not a psul deraisa, would still be believed to allow this aguna, this woman, to get remarried whose husband went overseas and Nebuch, there was an accident and no one saw except this one guy who gambles. We would still allow that. On to Mishnah Tes. Mi shara sachodesh. Someone saw the new moon and they saw it Friday evening and they want to travel on Shabbos to testify to the high court. Ve'eno yachol lecholech, but he's not able to walk himself. You could actually bring him on a donkey on Shabbos to Yerushalayim, afilu b'mitah, even if you have to carry him in a stretcher. So other people have to schlep this guy to Yerushalayim so he can testify to the new moon in the high court. Im sode lahem, if they are lying in ambush to ambush the witnesses. Now, this did happen in certain periods of history that Saddukim, the Sadducees, or the Kuthians, the Kutim, wanted to disrupt the process of Eidos Chodesh and Kiddush Chodesh. They were anti-Rosh Chodesh kind of things. They had their own agenda. They wanted holidays to fall when they wanted them to fall, or they just wanted to make trouble. So anyway, sometimes these miscreants and evildoers would be waiting to delay or harass the witnesses coming. So in that case, lochin biadam maklut. You could bring your stick with you. We mean like a gishmaka stick, not a nice thick walking stick you can beat these guys up with or defend yourself. If it's a long way, lochin biadam mizonot. You could even bring some snacks. Sha'ol mecholech laila v'yom mecholin et Shabbat. So if you can get there during the night and arrive the following day, you can be machalo Shabbat. V'yotzin later the chodesh. So if they could, for instance, they saw the moon on Friday evening, it's already Shabbos, and if they travel Friday night and part of the next day on Saturday, they could reach the Beis Din on Shabbos itself and sanctify the new moon that day, then they have permission to go. But if they're not going to get there until Saturday night after Shabbos, they don't have permission to go because Mimon Avshach, it will automatically anyway be proclaimed the next day as Rosh Chodesh. So what's the license? We've mentioned before the license for them to travel on Shabbos to testify to the new moon. Shnamar Eile Moadei Hashem Asher Tikru Otam B'Moadam. These are the festivals of Hashem that you will designate. You will call them in their proper time. Meaning there's a deraisa interest that Hashem gives us in the Torah to obtain this testimony about the new moon and sanctify the month at the proper time, even if they must travel on Shabbos to do so. Yashar Kuchachem, sei gesund.